Welcome to Film Study, an all-American podcast with Lexi. I'm Lexi. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, rate the podcast 5 stars if you haven't yet. And if you're interested, I have a Patreon. There's some exclusive content that drops on there. I also have like an additional weekly live Q&A episode that's also for patrons only. So if you're interested, the link is in the description box below of everything. Anyway, we're talking about All American Homecoming. Season 2, episode 8. We're back for the mid-season premiere. Rock the boat. I have Hailey on, and we're excited.
Hello.
Back in Atlanta. Actually, Christine Swanson directed, and I always look out for the episodes that she directs or pay close attention to them because I love her as a director. And she has this really good eye for doing really cool intros, and I thought it was a really cool intro. The party.
It was so fun.
It was so fun. It was so fun. But here's the thing. It was an amazing intro. The dancing, the music, but the music on Homecoming this episode was like A plus. But and it was like the only gripe that I had. The dialogue in the dance scene I felt like didn't flow as well as it normally does. And maybe that's just a me thing, but it felt like we were like interrupting the flow of the vibes of the party.
I see what you mean.
When we would go into their dialogue. And then because Simone was sort of like, and maybe this was almost intentional, but because Simone was trying to like find out if other athletes had like failed a drug test or whatever, it was like the blocking too was just weird. So it was like we would cut. We would cut the dialogue, cut out.
And then
exactly.
There was like Simone worrying.
Exactly. And then it was just like fun, worrying, cut the worrying, go back to the fun, go back to the worry. It was just really so I just wish it was a little bit more seamless. But I was just like I almost wish the party just had its own thing and then we just had like all of the dialogue together instead of sort of the back and forth. Because I thought it was a really cool intro and really dope scene, and I think people are gonna love it on Netflix for sure.
Damon was enjoying himself, that's for sure.
Damon was enjoying. I thought we were gonna be freed. I was just like, all right, we got a little different of an intro. I thought we were gonna be freed from the shackles of the montage of the flashbacks. They won't let them go. Why won't they let them? I don't know why I'm so passionate about this. Because I care a lot about this show. I
was so mad to see him and Thea in those damn flashbacks. You don't get it.
The flashbacks.
I closed my eyes.
Else.
I was so mad because
the flashbacks.
Why did we have to have Damon really like this girl? The fact that Damon actually cares about this girl to this extent bothers me a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
Just a little. Like, why?
Please.
Let her go.
Not let her go. This was like they had just broken up. They said it was like 2 days, right?
Yeah.
But
he was on that girl though.
Now that I think about it, I'm like, did the timeline even match up this episode?
Because how long was Layla there?
Exactly. I was like, she definitely just left. If we're talking,
she definitely was there for more than a day. Like,
exactly. I'm like, so she was there for like 2 days or whatever, and then we literally see her the day she lands. I'm assuming, and then we just pick up and sort of go back in time to the start of their day. I don't know. I'm trying to do this math, but it was that just because it was only 2 days, it really that was interesting. Anyway, before we move on from this intro scene and sort of go into the rest of the storylines, it was also interesting that like Lando was looking all jealous because Damon and Simone were hugging
in his little suit. Yeah.
Don't even talk to me about that outfit.
It's like, what did they dress him in?
Why? I don't even want to talk. I'm not even gonna get into that outfit.
I'm sorry.
But yeah,
But
the
him
intro was cool.
staring them down, that hug was everything. I'm sorry. Their chemistry is undeniable. It's just so they
I
have
love
such a
Damon.
familiar chemistry with each other too. Like
I
they just
agree.
fit. You know what I mean?
I
And
agree.
Lando knows that because that's why he's mad. When they start having characters um lose in their relationships, they start having them look worse or they don't have them dressed as good.
Mm,
That's why Lando was in that suit.
that's fair. So Amara, getting into her storyline, she is continuously trying to keep the lines of distinction with her as an aunt versus her as a president. And I'm just gonna say this really quickly, and I hope to never bring it up again because I don't want to, I don't want to belabor the point. But I was so frustrated that family dinner came one episode too late. Came back one episode too late. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to belabor the point. I'm just going to say it would have been interesting. But
I get that.
regardless,
I agree.
but regardless, they still don't have any family dinners. We'll get into sort of why Simone was stressing her drug test, etc., etc., etc. But she's talking about the drug test with Amara. Nico overhears his little open-eared self.
Some nice
Walks in,
things.
says some slick stuff talking about he's gonna apply again, and essentially like Amara, despite Simone telling her not to look into it, is gonna look into it. She invites her sister, Simone's mom, Tina, to come to like look in and help Simone with things.
Can we
Um,
talk about the embrace they had? Never
Tina
thought
and
I'd see the
Simone.
day where Simone would be so excited to see her mother.
Yeah, and I guess it is season 2, episode 8, and we've watched the evolution of their relationship slowly but surely. But I also was just like, I don't know, it didn't feel too soon, but it was still, I guess it's because like this
I
episode
feel like
came from a
I needed
break.
one more conversation with them
Yeah,
for
like I
me
don't
to
know, just
fully
a
be like,
little. Yeah,
yeah,
just to
it,
accept it. Because I also think the fact that this episode came after a break and we haven't been watching the show in a continuous form for like a month and a half or whatever, however long it's been, it just felt really what's
it
the
made you
like
like turn your
jarring.
head a
Yeah,
little bit.
it felt a little jarring to just be like, I'm so excited you're here because of what we were introduced from in
Yeah.
at the very top of the show and like
Simone's
throughout
dad
sort of
should be
season 1.
next.
Where is he?
We don't
Whatever.
know. Like I
Anyway,
want, but they better bring him somewhere.
literally. Um. So anyway, gets Tina to come. Uh, Tina figures out a tribunal. Again, we'll get back to that. But essentially, Tina is the one who organizes this whole uh family dinner, bringing back family dinner, and she encourages Amara to go be the auntie of the group. And so Amara gets to talk to Keisha, who will get into her story in a second. And she asks her to honestly tell her about her dance. And she sort of handles Keisha's situation with her professor because uh, switching into Dr. Pace, who Amara told to ease up. Keisha and dance.
I never thought it would get to this point.
Do you mean like the character, or like do you mean like the storyline?
Both, really. I ne- I never
You're just like all of it.
like I never thought I would see Keisha push herself so hard for dance. But then I also never thought they would actually do it like as a storyline. If that makes sense.
I didn't know that we were going to get this same storyline for so long, because I feel like it's been almost since like the beginning of the season, right? That she's had this class. And it's been it's been sort of like just one straight line. I don't really
Just
feel like there's been a lot of hills.
dance and cam.
It,
That's all she really
oh
has.
my, oh my god! Don't
Just
even
dance
bring
and
up.
cam, dance and
Don't even bring
cam.
that up. I'm glad that her storyline didn't involve Cam, but again, I feel like with with the character of Keisha, the writers get into this like straight line for her where we don't see her experience like, and I'm not talking about in a storyline, but I mean with the storylines that she does have, we don't see her experience peaks and valleys of differing storylines. Like it's very much like season 1, Keisha and Cam are figuring out, and we're gonna watch them figure it out for the like all of season 1, right? Is what we got in season 1, and now with season 2, it's like Keisha finally switched her major. Now we're gonna watch her figure it out for majority of season 2 up
Yeah.
until episode 8. Like 8 episodes is a long time to just watch Keisha have a struggle with her dance professor. And I think that they're talking about good things and they're making good points. But I'm just like, I find myself like, where is the fun loving Keisha uh from the backdoor pilot? Where's the Keisha who we saw in season 1, right? When she was like she was so sad about the anniversary of her mom's death. Like, where is this like variation in her storyline where we're seeing
Yeah.
her experience other things outside of cam and dance? Even
And I
her dad,
wish.
like, where is her dad? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, we don't know where he is. But I do wish that they would relate her dancing a little bit more back to her mom. And maybe that's why
Mm.
she's pushing herself
Or her
so hard.
culture, exactly, like something other than
Because
just
I
that.
think some people need to be like, some people don't understand why she's pushing dance the way that she is.
And I again, like, for something that she just very recently decided to actually do, because she was like very much into her medical major, medical degree or whatever. So again, being like, why now? Why was now the time to change this major? We're not getting a lot of the why, we're just getting a lot of the what is happening now. And I think that's like a disconnect for me. And I hope over the course of these last, 5 episodes that they have up until 13, that we really get just more variation in her story and more of the why behind Keisha rather than just like what's going on in her life right now.
Yeah, we've definitely hit the climax of her storyline
Oh,
with dance.
we've already come to the resolution. Amara was like, Dr. Pace, ease up. If we ever get anything with Dr. Pace, I'm gonna be like, no, we cannot. We
I
cannot
wonder
bring
what they're
this
gonna
back
do
around.
with her for the rest of the season.
But that's what I'm saying. So I hope in this, like, even if it's like one-off storylines, or if they pick it up for 2 episodes, if they do a 2-3 episode thing where it's 2 different storylines or whatever, that we get some variation. And I believe, as we're recording right now, Netta has already finished season 2, so she wrapped for season 2. Go her. So I hope that, in her journey over the last course of the 5 episodes, we get to see some more goodness. But yeah, in the meantime, like we said, she was having struggles with her professor. But this is like the vehicle that they used to bring back family dinners, which I actually thought was a good vehicle. She ended up having like
Yeah.
almost like a nervous breakdown, and it led to a really cute scene with her, Nate, and Simone talking about like life and how it's lifing. Um,
I love their friendship.
yeah, yeah.
Them as a trio, I think they work so well together.
I agree. And I think, you know, because they've established family dinners with the whole core of the group of, what was the original group? It's almost like the 5 of them. Like, I'll say the core group is Nate, Keisha, Simone, Damon, and JR. And then Cam sort of comes in and out. And then Thea comes in and out. Who else am I missing? Cam comes in and out. Thea comes in and out. Land, and then you have like circles
Then
of
then
guest
you
stars.
have
So
like
Lando,
Lando and Gabby.
yeah, Lando and Gabby. But like the core five of them, and I feel like the trio is definitely, I think, the core of the core, if that was the thing. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, they're the mainstays on the show. So it was good to watch them have a scene because I feel like tend to sort of bring is especially in season 2, they tend to alternate Nate and Keisha quite a lot. They did this season.
With Simone.
Which yeah, and I was kind of surprised about that. Like Keisha I was about to say Kate. No, Keisha and Nate didn't overlap as much as they did in
Yeah,
season
we
1
didn't
in
see
this season.
them as like a unit. As
Yeah, they literally alternated, I think, like Netta and Royal um
that's
for
an
episodes.
interesting. Yeah.
And yeah, it was an interesting choice, and obviously this wasn't for each episode, but it's a pattern that I noticed. Like it would either be like Keisha's on a trip or something, and Nate is here. It would be like Nate is on a trip or something, and Keisha is here. So that was just really interesting. So I love that they
Season
had this
two.
like coming back together.
Season two is also like the season where I feel like they separate characters.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. I agree. And it was it was an interesting dynamic to watch, but I think again, I think they were just trying to figure out how to because Nate became a was bumped up to season regular. So they were trying to figure out how to balance sort of all of the season regulars together. Anyway,
Yes.
so that was Keisha and Dance, and speaking of Nate, she applied for the presidency. She walked right up in the offenses, was like, "I would love to announce or what did she say? I would love to apply for the candidacy of president."
I love that she
I,
feels. I love that they're give. I hope she wins. If they don't have her
yeah,
win, I'm gonna be so mad about it.
I think
I'm
they're
gonna be a
gonna
little
have her win.
salty.
I think that they've shown that Nico is just not good and that everybody loves Nate. So if she doesn't win, I'd be very shocked. But yeah, so that I'm interested to see how that I'm interested to see how the campaign goes because Nico is probably gonna cause problems for her.
Nico needs to. I'm so tired of seeing Nico.
Nico's face? No, I know. I was
I
just like,
genuinely
why
hope
are you
somebody
still
beats
here?
it. I need him to like.
Ain't
I
nobody
need
gonna
Jordan.
beat nobody on this show.
I need somebody to pull
You
a
said
Jordan
I
Baker
need Jordan?
to come beat him up. Like,
What?
I'm not joking. I can't stand
JR.
him.
I need JR to punch Nico.
Because JR
But
doesn't play about Nate.
JR doesn't play about Nate. So, yeah, we should see that. We should see that. Anyway, Cam's scholarship really quickly. Cam expressed interest in KEK after talking to his like theater classmate, and finding out that KEK offers scholarships. Here's the thing: Jr. comes to him and thanks him for helping him out with Gabby, and Cam, knowing that JR is sort of the lead of KEK, is just like, oh, I'm interested in joining. Seems like a solid network of brothers, right? And like he was like, oh, and no cap for real, like I need scholarship money, which they all know. And I was really surprised that JR was just like, oh yeah, I don't think you're down for the right reasons. And I'm like, what?
But like, he's a student. If there's money involved and a student
A
is doing it, it's for
student
the
and
money.
your supposed friend who you know is struggling with money, who you know had a very serious medical issue.
Which they should bring up.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's why I was just like, I'm so curious, like the thought that went behind sort of writing that line in it, and I assume it's just because like on the surface he was just like, oh, and I need the scholarship money, but Jr. knowing Cam's context and Cam's history, it's like you know how big of a challenge this is. Like you know that he had a medical issue and that he lost his football scholarship and that he's working he was working so many jobs and then he got the job with Amara. Da, da. So you know his backstory. So I don't understand why he was like, mm,
It's
but yeah.
giving when you go to a job interview and they ask you why you want the job.
Yeah, it was so
For money.
it was
Like,
so weird. But then like Damon got a chance to stand up for Cam, which we never see like Damon and Cam really interact or forget
never.
that they're roommates. But it was nice to see Damon stand up for Cam. But it was also just like I just feel like JR was a little too hard
It
on
felt
Cam, and
out of character for JR
it
a little
did.
bit.
It felt like it was. I don't. Yeah. It. Yeah.
Also,
And
we
again,
rarely ever see JR in this frat.
and I think maybe they're just laying the groundwork for what is next week when it's like rushing season, and we're gonna see JR in a little bit of a different light when he's like running the show and running KEK and running the rush. And so we won't be shocked there. So maybe let me take that. Maybe that's why, because they was like setting up the groundwork for that. But still, it's just like, ugh, just being, why are you being so hard? Why are you being so hard on the brother? So that was that. But again, obviously he comes to him at the end and is just like, would love to have you, and corrects it and everything like that. So it ended up working out for sure. Um, Damon. We already mentioned is struggling with his breakup with Thea. Um, Thea tells Damon after he goes to talk to her after getting sort of encouragement from Simone, that hug that we were talking about. Um, Damon, I don't know, you're like, let me not. No, she's just like,
You're trying to mimic her voice.
I was going to, but I was like, let me not. I've been making it too much. That you're like the sun and everything in your orbit or revolves around you, and you meaning him. And I
And I was
was
like,
just
in
like,
your relationship
what?
that you've had with him, it's
Specifically,
mostly been about you.
specifically in her relationship. And
It's
in
about
their
her.
relationship, it's literally been about her. Like in the beginning, when they
They
first sort of got
started
together.
because he saved her, or like he helped her out
I
in a
don't.
situation.
I
How
know.
does
I don't even
that
want to talk
equal
about
to
this
it
situation.
being about him?
And what
It's
I'm saying
always
is,
been about her.
even in the, let me say this, in the very beginning, like you said, after that, but like when they decided to be together, it was like almost immediately also about his adoption. But since then, after the adoption day, it's literally been about Thea and taking it slow
But
for
she
Thea.
wasn't even heavily involved in his adoption story.
That's what, and I know, but I'm saying like even that small little part was about him. But even since then, not like it literally has been about Thea, helping Thea, doing what's right for Thea. We remember he even had like a mini argument with Simone because he was like standing up for Thea and like didn't want to get in the middle of it. So it was
I
like,
feel
Thea,
like
what
Damon
are
is
you
very. What are you talking about?
talking
Like,
about? What are you talking about?
and I feel like Damon is very accommodating of her
He is. He is.
to the point where I didn't understand. I just did. Sometimes I feel like, why are you with this?
It just literally. If I wrote down in my notes, I was like, how would she know that David is the son? Because she doesn't experience that. Because to your point, he is very accommodating towards her. Um, but anyway, and then she goes, and then she goes, yeah, we're done for now.
It's
What?
so funny. I see them building up Thea and JR already. It's just in the stars. It's in the stars. I
I
see
don't
it.
know.
It's so
I'm digging
clearly to me.
Gabby. I'm digging Gabby.
I love Gabby. Love her. I'd be happy if she stayed with JR. But I feel like the way that they're going with Thea, she's going to fall somewhere on JR.
We'll see.
And JR even mentioned her in the episode.
He did. He did. That's true. One of the rare JR moments. I know you've been wanting this since before the show premiered. So we'll see. We'll see. But I don't know. I don't. JR and Gabby, yeah, they have my heart. They
JR
have
and
my
Gabby
heart.
are so cute. And again,
They're
I would be
so
happy if they
cute.
were, if they just were together forever. But I know how it's gonna be.
So anyway, um, yeah. So we'll see on that. But after that, just Damon really takes that hard, especially after hearing that there's a new scandal with the baseball team and how did Damon, who was an MLB prospect or whatever, why did he choose Brainston? Did they bribe him? Blah, 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 blah. There was a really funny line that JR said about, oh, he was giving you the PG-13 version or whatever. It was like, really, it was like, they said you bribed him with money, women, and something like cars or something like. And I'm like, that's still a PG-13 version. But anyway, um essentially that was the new scandal that was plaguing the baseball team. And this is I really like Lando as a character and as a support system for Simone. Lando in terms of Damon is starting to remind me of Frosto with Spencer.
Oh wow.
And I say that, and I only say that because not in terms of like character importance, but it's like I feel like every other episode now we're like getting, not even every other episode, it's like every episode Lando has a problem with Damon. Um Damon has a problem with Lando. They almost fight, but then they talk it out or they come to some sort of understanding. Maybe it's just because we've come back on break. Maybe I'm like misremembering it, but that very much feels like the sort of pattern. And I don't think they ever really came to like a place of being friendly, but I feel like they've had a couple of conversations where it's been like, okay, we respect
Cordial.
one another. Exactly, we're cordial. And it's like every other
What
episode
is your
they
issue
come
with
back.
him?
Exactly, like what is your problem?
He's mad because he knows Simone loves him. I genuinely think
Yeah, and then he was
part of
trying to
his
say like,
dislike is
oh,
from
and because of what you did, like da 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 da. Now Simone is getting thrown the book at her. Like Damon had nothing to do with that. Like Damon did not start the rumor. Like what?
Like Damon was confused.
Exactly. And so I'm just like, Lando, you just need to calm down a little bit, just a little bit. Anyway, Marcus tells Damon to say no comment to reporters, which he tries to do until they start coming for Brigson directly, and then Damon tries to do a good thing. I remember I was like live watching. I was just like, yeah, you better speak, Damon. You better talk. And I was like, wait, no, wait, no, Damon, don't talk. And so he ends up getting the baseball team embroiled in another scandal because they were like, he tries to point out Lando and Lando wanting to come to Bringston. And they're just like, but how are you eligible? Because you switched schools and blah, 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 blah. And his eligibility ended up being good. And like, you know, he was eligible. And it's because Shaw took half of his scholarship when Damon was going to transfer or whatever. But the media didn't know that, and Lando sort of froze up in the middle of that conversation. So he didn't get a chance to say it. And I think this is the time when like Lando legitimately had a right to be mad at Damon, because he could have just been like, yo, you just like threw me out there. I wasn't even prepared to say anything, and now you got my name in the headlines, dude. And so like that, this is an understandable reason to be upset.
The thing is, they don't have him mad for the right reasons, and that's my problem.
I know. Even in this, he was just like, your skills on the field and your decisions off the field have the potential to blow up people's lives. And I'm like, okay, but your life wasn't like that blown up. Like, it was bad, but I mean, it's like, it's not like you go lose anything. And I mean, again, I understand that he did lose half of his scholarship. I understand that. But that wasn't Damon. That was Shaw. And so to your point, like he's mad at the wrong people or he's directing his
Like Damon
anger.
is just another 18-year-old. Like
Literally, like he's your age. I understand, like y'all have a beef or whatever, but you know, all of this does not reside on Damon's shoulders. And eventually that's what JR tells Damon is just like you're not responsible for what happens to everybody. Even though you might play a part in sort of things leading up to that, you're ultimately not responsible for like you're not responsible for Simone getting the book thrown at her. Like you're not responsible for Lando losing his scholarship. Even though actions that you made may impact them, it's not your fault. And I'm glad that they had that conversation. I'm also glad that I don't know how you feel about this, but glad that they finally like let us have their brotherly talks because that was like an element I feel like that was missing.
I genuinely forget they're brothers sometimes.
And that's what I'm saying. Because they were sort of, I think, like butting heads a little bit throughout the course of the entire series, and obviously they figured it out early this season. But it was good to see them actually have like just, oh, we're talking as brothers now. We're not just talking as people who are familiar with each other.
And
and
they
I
have
think
they have such great chemistry with each other.
yeah, they have a good rapport. And I really like that. I was just like, I feel like we should get them having conversations almost as often as we get like Keisha and Nate, or you know, like Nate and Simone, or like the trio, or you know, whatever. Like I think that should be a staple of every episode from here on out. Or
But
you
it
know,
also goes into play with Dame. Like JR has friends that we don't see. Like JR has a whole like for JR has like frat brothers like that.
that's
We
true.
don't see. I want them to show us that his
Like if we
relationship with
followed
other
JR, a day
people.
in the life of JR.
Yeah,
That's true. I'm, you know who I'm curious I would actually like to follow and have a day in the life of? Nate. Like, how did Nate and oh, I'm a backtrack on this, and I'm gonna bring back up that point. But um, really happy for that. Marcus ends up arranging. Marcus ends up arranging a interview with Reggie Bush so that the baseball team can tell their side of the story.
who I didn't realize was Reggie Bush at the time.
I saw the promo pictures. I did not realize it was Reggie Bush. The promo pictures. Someone had to tell me, and I was just like, I was like, why does he look so different in this picture?
Yeah,
But
football, and the fact that he's a football player and he's
I was
on
like,
the baseball show.
what? And then, okay, here's the thing. I was just like, I would have preferred if they had just written like, oh, there was like a national media thing or like a sports media thing, and he was just an anchor, and they were all surprised that he was doing the interview. But the fact that Marcus just like randomly drops like, oh, an old pal of mine. I was like, no, no.
Because how do you know him, Marcus?
Exactly. First, in bringing up football, like you were what was it, like a minor league baseball player? How do you know Reggie Bush?
Maybe he had friends that made it to the league, you know?
No, we have not been given enough backstory to like. Let me not talk for everybody.
Listen,
I have
everybody has
not
a
been
friend
given
that knows
enough
somebody.
backstory to just be trusting that Marcus just knows Reggie Bush. I literally, and listen, it's not just some of my friends. I texted and I was just like, this little Reggie Bush cameo and the way that they did it was not working. And again, it was cool. And I just don't, like, why did they have to have Marcus know him? Like, I just don't understand.
Because who does Marcus really know? Like, let's just think. Like,
Literally, like, I don't.
Marcus didn't have friends last season, mind you.
It's still dope. This man showed up at family dinner the last month. I'm like, who even invited you? Let me stop.
Let's get off of Marcus.
Why are we going in on Marcus? But
because some of the stuff that they let Marcus do is like, okay.
It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, and it's just like I just need them to be serious.
I honestly would have believed it if it was like Keisha's dad or
literally
Mara's man.
Not Zeke, or even Tina. Tina was already there. Why did they have Tina?
Why didn't they have Tina do
what?
it?
Hold on. Why did they have Tina? No, that. Literally, I'm so annoyed because they could have had Tina. They could have brought in Keena, Damon's mom, and been like, "Oh, my mom just said she did me a solid." Like anybody but
they
Marcus.
Have to give Marcus something though. They had to give Marcus something. Okay, too much on Marcus. But that just I was just like, I was so looking forward to this cameo, and then that when he was just like an old pal, I was just like, no, come on. Especially because they're not the same age.
It was interesting. But anyway, Damon ends up before the interview. Damon ends up not apologizing to Lando necessarily, but like saying like, I didn't want bad things to happen to you because of me transferring. And again, they end cordial. I'm sure that will change in the episode after next. So we'll see how that goes. But Simone in this drug test, she failed the drug test twice. She had THC in her system, and the AD was trying to throw the book at her because the baseball team had another scandal, as we discussed. Thea ends up helping out Simone, and they confront Tootie,
which I thought was fun.
I thought it was fun too.
I thought their little detective moment was cute and fun.
I thought it was like a natural sort of organic storytelling way to get them to be cordial and get them past obviously their thing. And this also, like I said, so Thea ends up coming after Tina talks about the tribunal. Thea ends up coming and saying she went to PKZ and it wasn't them, and that they have her back, etc., etc. And it leads the way for her to apologize, because I've always been wondering how they're gonna have Thea apologize for what she said in the finale, which, now that I'm thinking of it, that was a ways back. Like, we're in episode 8 and they didn't have Thea apologize until episode 8.
Thea's literally, like, I think her apology wasn't even like that great, to be really
no, it wasn't that great. And then for the amount of
so harshly,
she literally called her out her name. But now that I'm thinking, I'm like, literally, it took her 8 episodes, and we're acting like she came back in episode like 2 or 3 and was like, my bad. What?
And I think it's at a point to where Simone has so much going on, she doesn't even really care. Simone has bigger fish to fry than worry about Thea's apology.
That's true, but it just hit me as I was talking about it that we're in episode 8 and they literally had her wait until episode 8. And so it was a natural organic thing, but now I'm like, I almost wish it had been deeper, like something deeper had been going on to get this apology, because now it just feels like, oh, and by the way, I guess it's my opportunity to be like, sorry.
Well, something's going on with Thea.
That's true. And that's what I was about to get on. I never noticed that Simone noticed that Thea had the yips. Did you see Simone looking at Thea the first time she did the little ball in the air?
Oh, yes. Players do?
So I didn't notice that until the second watch. But she did notice she has the yips. Obviously, she had that breakdown scream at the end when she couldn't hit the ball. And she misses family dinner. Or I think it was just a hangout, but she was supposed to come and she misses it.
It was interesting because I feel like Thea is always the one that's not at family dinner.
She
So to have
is.
them then be like, "Where's Thea?"
Was
and
really
have like
okay. I don't know what it was about these group seeds minus family dinner. Family dinner was like perfect. This group seed, I feel like they were just trying to do something artistic at the top there, but I'm like, why is Nate brushing Simone's hair?
they're trying to do something different. They were experimenting.
They were really trying to be different, and I was just like, I respect it. I respect it. I respect it. Um. So
But
anyway,
can you imagine if they had JR be like, "Where's Thea?" That would have fed me. I'm sorry.
it would have fed you. That's for sure. No, I who what Damon ended up saying it. Where's Thea? Right. But didn't JR say she was supposed to bring the ice cream?
That was Nate.
Oh.
I think that was Nate. She was supposed to bring because Nate and her are close, and she said she was supposed to bring the ice cream. Yeah.
Interesting. So yeah, it was interesting.
She
But
didn't even look like she was ready to go anywhere. She was literally on that court.
yeah, she
Like,
was literally in the corner. I
girl,
was just like, no one actually checked in, and I'm like, did we learn nothing from what we just
did
saw
no
Keisha
one text her?
experience? That's what did we learn nothing from what y'all just witnessed Keisha? And why is the full group always there for Keisha and no one else? I'm very confused. I'm just saying because it's been twice now that they've had like the full group like at the studio. I don't, but even though I love that they're there for Keisha, it was just interesting because I was just like, now everybody's missing the thing with Thea. You know, everybody was split up for this whole tribunal thing. Um, XYZ. So obviously, the tribunal ended up being that Simone dosed herself because she was using Nate's THC lotion. There were a couple of cute Simone
I
and
laughed.
Lando.
Oh
Oh,
Lord.
about the THC lotion.
I thought that was so funny. I'm sorry. Like, her freaking out. Like who who
Who
framed
dosed
me?
me? Yeah, she was literally like somebody gave me something, somebody fed me something, all for it
When
to just
it
be
was
about
just
lotion.
you putting some lotion on your
Also,
skin.
why did Nate know to look for the lotion? I maybe did Simone say it was THC when Nate first
I
arrived? I
don't
don't
know.
think
Like
she
I
did.
thought I thought the natural reaction would be like, well, Simone, have you been doing drugs? Like,
Literally, Nate literally just was like looking and was like, my lotion. Like
and
what? I was
also,
like,
Nate,
what?
why are you so comfortable with Simone being in your stuff then? Like, you just went.
Oh, I feel like I thought that was normal, especially because they're so close. Yeah, there was,
She just went and like digged for it though. I was like, okay.
but I felt like it was just a signal of their closeness, and you know, I use my friend's
You know
lotion
what?
sometimes.
I like that. I take what I said back. I like how you just described that. I actually like that
um,
now. They're
but
close.
it was just interesting that it coming right off and then having that what was that line of dialogue, oh, I couldn't take camping with my family, etc., so I had to come back, and then just sort of being directly like, oh, I'm caught up on all the drama, oh, THC lotion.
Like, she came in and just solved the case so fast.
So yeah, it was just interesting how that all worked out and how it was sort of figured out that instantly. um but she gave a speech, and it was like side by side with the baseball team being like, why wouldn't anybody want to come to Princeton? And black athletes are held to a higher standard.
Also,
What did you think?
can we talk about the Simone Orlando scene real quick?
Oh, yeah. I was going to leave that for the end, but we can talk
Oh,
about it right
okay. Simone does not want that man. Just let me put that out there.
now. Okay.
Simone doesn't
Well,
want that man.
let's pause on that conversation for a second. Then go and we'll finish the THC conversation, and we'll go back to Simone and Lando. Um what did you think about that side by side? black athletes are held to a higher standard. I love the substance of it.
You know,
I don't think it
like,
hit in the way that they were intending.
It didn't hit. It didn't hit, but I didn't roll my eyes at it.
Yeah, it was just like something else.
It was just like, okay.
It was something else. Yeah, it was like, all right.
Like, I get it.
Yeah, exactly. So I had that thought. I know a couple other people have that thought. I wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
But I wasn't annoyed.
And again, I wasn't annoyed. I was just like, they're giving good information. This is true. Yeah. I was like all of these things are facts. Yeah. But it just wasn't like they've had other moments that are just like, whoo, hit you. And I just don't think this was one of them. And I feel like they might have thought that it was going to be, but it was just
it would have hit bigger.
Yeah. But that was just my thoughts on that. But so Simone and Lando, you think that Simone doesn't like him?
I think Simone likes him, but I think Simone is also like he's safe. Like I don't think Simone spends her time thinking about Lando. Like I'm gonna be real. Lando does not occupy her mind.
They've had some really cute moments. I really enjoyed the cheek kiss that they did and them encouraging one another. I think I'm starting to see sort of like what you said, not necessarily about the clothes, but in subtle ways I'm starting to see them hinting that like Lando is not the one. And I can't really put my finger on like
even
why.
How Simone gives information to Damon versus how she gives information to Lando is completely different to me.
Yeah, Nate interrupting their kiss, Lando having his own thing to go to and not necessarily being like them being split up for the big moments, like Lando's interview and then her tribunal being at the same time. And I know that they gave them that moment before, like I said, with the cheek kiss, but it's just, I don't know, there is to your point, it just doesn't feel
there's something
like
Simone is just not that invested, and I think Simone is just comfortable with him.
I think she's very comfortable with him, and I think she's comfortable with him because she knows that Damon is complicated. I think there's always going to be the Damon looming over her head. And it definitely feels like, I also feel like it feels like Lando is more into her than she is into him.
Which I love. I love a ship where the man is more interested. But, like, with Simone, Simone just doesn't. She's not invested. I think Lando is just somebody who's there at the moment. Wait, we missed the big Damon part. Where Damon was talking about feeling safe or something like that, and it flashed back to him seeing Simone.
Oh yeah,
being
in their spot.
We can't leave that out. We can't.
No, you're right. You're right. I totally forgot about that. You're right. Them because their spot is the student lounge. They need to have another like scene in the student lounge. I feel like we haven't gotten that in a while. I feel like it's a good time for that to make a comeback.
Where she slept on his shoulder.
And that's and that's what I mean is they're not ending these scenes together. Lando and Simone, I mean. They're not ending the episodes together. They're like being interrupted. And so I like them. I think they're cute. But I think there's, again, it's just Damon is always a
Simone
present.
Safe pace.
Yeah, a present.
Confirmed. That's canon now.
Thought for her. Yeah. Thanks for listening and stay tuned for our predictions.